Welcome to Something to Talk About. I'm Linda McNamee, and for the next hour we are going to have a crash course in U.S. history, dating back to, I'm going to cheat for a second, 1638 to the present. So hope you're ready. But before we begin, as usual, I would like to invite you to call in anytime this evening at 781-270-9199. I think I got that right. Or if you have a question for later on, you are more than welcome to email me at talk@bcattv.org. If you have a question or a comment or a suggestion for a future topic, feel free to send me a note. And as usual, I would like to thank the crew for this evening. We have Colleen Moore, Director Extraordinaire. Thank you, Colleen, making me look good, or doing her best to make me look as good as I possibly can. Corey McNeil, who's a staff member here. Kyle Ruffin is usually here, but he's teaching a class, so you can become a volunteer at BCAT. And we also have Tatiana Hawkins, Maddie Shipka, and Mark Laurie, who have given up their Wednesday evening to get some nice Video Voyager credits for coming here and helping me out. So thanks, guys. And last but definitely not least, I want to thank my husband Paul for staying home for Daddy Date Night. Hope you're having fun building all the magnetic towers and magnetic cars and anything you can do with magnets. So, and now I would like to introduce my wonderful guest, who is a big fan of history, so I give you credit there. We have Gerry McCarthy, who is Captain Commanding of the Ancient and Honorable Artillery Company of Massachusetts.
Yes.
We couldn't fit all of that on the screen before, so we kind of had to.
That's all right.
You know, we live in a state with a really long name.
I can see that. Yeah.
So, well, thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me.
And usually, for all of my shows, we like to get an idea of who the guest is. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up,
Sure.
how you came to the Burlington area if you're not originally from around here, and then eventually how you got involved in the Ancient and Honorable Artillery Company. Can I just call it the company?
You could call it the Ancients. Why don't you just
The
say
Ancients,
Ancients?
okay.
Right, the Ancients. That's a short.
Just really long.
That's all right, no problem. Been in town 37 years. Came here in 1978. My wife Christine and I have two boys, 30 and 32. And now we live on the other side of town. We built a house over on the other side of town on Michael Drive.
Okay.
And
now, did you grow up around here? Or?
No, I grew up in Arlington.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're still in Massachusetts.
I'm still in Massachusetts. 37 years in the town. I feel like I'm a newbie here.
Really?
Yes, yeah, even
I've
still.
been here for almost 13, and I'm starting to feel like a townie.
But yeah, I went to school in Arlington, and I graduated from Wentworth Engineering for civil engineering and so forth. And I've been in the company for 35 years, the Ancient and Honorable Artillery Company for 35 years. And basically, I love the organization. It's a great organization, and I became captain this year, which took a long time to get there.
37 years? Oh, no.
Close to
Now, do you have to have a military background? I know we're going to jump around my questions,
Yes,
but do you need do you have a military background?
I do not have a military background.
How did you find out about the Ancients?
Well, basically, back in 1979, I came in there on May 14th. We always know our dates when we go into our organization, so it was May 14th, 1979. I had a mentor that was in the organization, and he says, he used to call me Mac. He says, why don't you come in here? I want you to see what this organization's all about. It will help your business, and help you basically to understand history. And I always loved history itself and the military, even though I did not serve in the military, so I had missed the military. And I went in there, and I loved it, and I've been there ever since.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, wait, back up again. How did you find out about it? It was a colleague of yours or a friend of yours?
A friend of mine.
Okay.
Yeah, he was older than me. The average age in the Ancients is a lot older than usually.
You're a youngin'.
I'm a youngin'. I'm a kid. So they were basically about 70 years of age. the military's changed an awful lot. Probably half of them now came from the services.
Okay.
And about other half are not, are coming into the company
And
now.
do you see that breakdown changing? You know, because when we met earlier,
Yes.
you know, there hasn't been another World War II, or
That's right.
You know, there's not a lot of active military. So do you see it more
Changing.
civilian?
Yes, more civilian people coming in. People that want to know about the history of the ancients.
Oh, okay.
And basically, it goes back since 1638, so it's
Wow.
306 years ago if you did the math. And I'm the
I can't do math either.
Yeah, I'm the 306th Captain Commander of the Ancient and Honorable Artillery. It's a
Okay.
very, very large privilege to be part of this organization.
So how did you work your way up to?
Well, I basically went in and I was a member. I went in front of the membership and I worked as a sergeant, as a commissary sergeant, and then I went on a couple of committees, learned about the organization, and then I became a sergeant.
Okay.
And from there I went on to being on the finance committee, and I was on the few other committees that are in there, and I just worked my way up. And one day I had discussed it with my wife, and I asked her if I could become commander, and she says, if you really want to do it, go for it. And it's an elected office. It's not.
Okay.
It's not. You have to.
It's not
get
just
the
a
votes.
volunteer position.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's elected office itself. Not paid. You don't get any money at all. It costs you
Okay.
money. You know.
Kind of narrows down narrows down the pool of applicants.
True.
I guess.
It is, but it's an honor.
Great.
So-
And you said you're serving for a year?
1 year as a commander.
Okay.
The way it works is that if you're going to run for office, you run for second lieutenant.
Okay.
Once you become second lieutenant, then you are on there for 1 year, and then you go off for a year.
Okay.
You go back into the ranks. You're back as a lieutenant.
Okay.
Then you become elected as first lieutenant,
Okay.
and then you go out another year, and then you come back in as commander for 1 year.
Okay. And then what happens
After that,
on June 2nd of 2015?
I become past commander,
Okay.
and I go into another, they call it the Past Commander Society.
Okay. So you
Society
still
back.
get like all the Secret Service guys to follow you around? And
Well, a little bit. Not
Not
much.
really,
Yeah, Not
okay.
really. We don't have any Secret Service.
so how did the ancients begin? You said they started back in 1638. Okay, just a group of guys wanting to learn
good
about
question.
history, or
Yeah. Basically, if you remember, the first governor of Massachusetts was Governor Winthrop.
okay.
And he came over here and basically at the time was running the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Okay.
They had some problems with some Indians and a few other people, and called over to London, back into London,
Okay.
and asked, at the time was King George,
Okay.
can we get some help here? And the Honorable Artillery Company of London had a training officers over there, and they sent them over here in 1638.
Okay.
It was chartered in 1638. They came over in 1637, but 1638 they were chartered. And they were the organized military for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And it's the first
Okay.
organized military, and also the oldest in the Western Hemisphere, and the third oldest in the world.
Wow.
So we are
Third oldest in the world? Wow.
in the
Okay,
United States.
Oh, okay.
We're the third oldest in the world.
Okay.
The oldest is the Swiss Guards. Okay,
Of
and they're,
course.
I think they're 1507. So
Oh, okay. Now, when the London ancients came over, was that just for Mass Bay Colony, or did they send help for like all the colonies?
it was just Massachusetts.
okay.
Yeah. So that was
Okay.
the time.
Now, am I understanding this correctly, that it was the military of that time?
Yes,
Okay, but it is no longer military.
we're not. We are a military.
You are military. Okay.
But we're not non-active, meaning that we're not out there
Okay.
fighting wars and so forth. We are ambassadors of goodwill, and we go around the world and we lay wreaths at cemeteries of unknown soldiers. We're considered today as honor guard for the governor of Massachusetts and the mayor of Boston.
Oh, okay.
So anytime the governor or the mayor has some important dignitary comes in, we are set up to come in there and be an honor guard to
Okay.
at the steps of the State House, and we greet whoever's coming into the State House itself.
Okay. Now, do you still have any affiliation or interaction with, like, Army or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we do. We have an
The
awful.
Pentagon or,
Well, not so much the Pentagon, but all four services
Okay.
that we have quite a few members from all the service, Army, Navy, National Guard is very large itself, the
Okay.
Marines, and the Coast Guard too. So we most of those folks that were in the service are members of our organization.
Okay.
So
I got it. Now, I was browsing through your website.
Yep.
And I say browsing because it would probably take me about 3 years to read everything on there. It's very intense, but very interesting. Now, what kind of support is considered with your new mission, because you're no longer, the active military, of supportive role in preserving the historic and patriotic traditions? What kind of role is that? You mentioned Tomb of the Unknown Soldier worldwide?
worldwide, right?
Okay.
Worldwide itself. The commander of the Ancients has an opportunity to go almost anywhere in the world if he's planning a trip, as long as it's safe.
Yeah.
We have to go through the State Department, and if they say, no, you can't go there, we don't go there. So
Okay.
we have to go through. That's why it takes 4 to 5 years to plan these trips.
Oh, okay.
Now, not everyone goes on the trip. We have anywhere from probably 80 to 120 people.
Wow. Now, how big is the organization?
About 700 members.
Wow.
And that's consisting of, we have right of descent members, and
Okay.
I'll explain to you what that is.
Okay.
We have approximately 300 regular members that pay the regular dues.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have life members that are in the organization that over 25, 30 years now.
Okay.
Then we have senior life members that are over 75 of age and been in the organization
Oh.
over 30 years.
Wow. Okay.
And then we have, they're called the right of descent. And to become a right of descent member, you have to prove that you had some connection, an ancestor within the first 100 years of the Ancients, from 1638 to 1738.
How many people have been able to prove that?
There's quite a few.
Really?
Yeah, there's quite a few. We have a curator. We check everything out, and basically we make sure that there's no phoniness coming in. We have
Okay.
to make sure
The
it's
lines
checked.
of genealogy. I know my dad's been trying to do some genealogy, and he says it really gets hard after a couple of generations
Right.
because names are changed,
That's exactly right.
addresses are changed, and he's like,
Right.
I think going back a couple of generations, there were like 12 kids, and there were 10 different last names in the same household. So
That's right.
being able to go back to between 1600s and
1638.
1700s.
Right.
So, wow.
There was a lot. Yeah.
That has got to be challenging. So, tell me more about your mission.
Well, again, we're ambassadors
Okay.
of goodwill,
Okay.
and we travel along the world itself. Good citizenship, and we want people
Okay.
that are in there that will carry on the traditions of the ancients. Been around for a long time.
Okay. Now, when you go overseas,
Yes.
do you participate in some kind of parade or ceremony,
Yes.
or is it just like touristy type stuff?
We do both.
Okay.
We basically go over and we'll have a military banquet. We try to get with the ambassador, whatever country we're going to, and we'll
Okay.
have either lunch or a dinner with them.
Oh, okay.
And we try to meet them. We'll go to the embassy first, and then we'll get our connections through there, and then we'll go to the ambassador's residence.
Okay.
And we have a sort of a lunch, and we do a little schmoozing and so
Okay.
forth. We try to parade at the cemeteries of the unknown soldiers,
Okay.
whatever country we go with.
It's like a parade or more of a procession type?
Procession, yeah. It's
Okay.
not a big parade. Obviously it's very,
Okay.
very difficult today. We have to watch out
Right.
what we do. We have 4 different uniforms. This is right now what I have now is a blazer, and we have a military parade uniform, and then we have a mess dress when we go to the banquets,
Okay.
and we have a summer uniform too.
Okay.
So we go out and we're there for ambassadors of goodwill. That's basically what we're trying
Okay.
to do, and then keep up the tradition of the history of the military and explain to people what we do. We have a very large. I didn't get into the museum that we have in Boston.
Well, we can talk about that right now if you want.
Okay, that's fine. We're in Faneuil Hall,
Okay.
and Faneuil Hall on the 4th floor.
I didn't even know there was a 4th floor until I talked to you.
A lot of people don't know that, and that's why I'm here to explain that to people too, is that if you go in Faneuil Hall, not Quincy Market, but across with the Faneuil Hall, the pretty
Okay.
building itself in there, on the 4th floor, we have a museum. It's a hidden gem in Boston.
Oh.
and a lot of people have not seen it. It's open every single day, Monday through Friday,
Okay.
from 9 to 3.
Okay.
We have a curator there, and we have a executive director, and you can go up there. It's free,
Ooh, even better.
and we have artifacts, all the way back to the 1638,
Wow.
and pictures of the past commanders, and pictures of. We have 4 past presidents, members of the Ancients.
Really? Okay. Quiz.
Okay, it's called. I always remember. I say MAC, and it's Monroe, Arthur, Coolidge, and Kennedy.
Okay.
We're all members of the Ancient and Honorable Artillery Company, and we have 8 Congressional Medal of Honor recipients,
Wow.
and 2 that are alive right now is Thomas Hudner and Tom Kelly, both Navy men.
Oh, okay.
So, and the Congressional Medal of Honor is the highest Medal of Honor that you can
Yeah.
get from the President of the United States.
That's really impressive.
Yeah.
Cool.
So.
Now, does this museum ever travel? Like, part of the exhibits go out and loan to other museums, or is
It's all
everything
stationary there. Yeah.
all-
Armed and
all
guarded.
lockdown,
It's
not
all
going
locked down
anywhere?
itself.
Okay.
We have our meetings there, and then up top of the Ancients Hall is called the Captain's Quarters. I call it the best looking real estate in Boston.
Oh, it's gotta be.
You'll overlook Quincy Market. I invite anybody to come. I mean, it's a great place to come up and see.
I might just do that. I'll bring the coffee.
Yeah. You can bring the coffee. You can come up there. It's great for kids to see, and
Yeah, do you do like tour groups or something?
absolutely, yes.
Okay, how would somebody go about finding out like information about
On our
the-
website.
Okay, it should be up on the screen
Oh,
as soon as I think so.
and-
ahac.us.com.
Right.
I was surprised it was a .com and not like a .gov or anything, but
Well, again, we're not. The government does not support
you're
us
like
as
a
far as.
government supported.
No, we're
or-
not supported. No,
no.
we pay for everything ourselves.
You support the government.
Yeah, we actually support the government, believe it or not. I mean,
Okay.
we get absolutely nothing from the government other than we do our rent at Faneuil Hall.
Okay.
Is very, very
Reasonably
Peter
priced.
Faneuil built that, and he was a member of the Ancients at the time. So,
Okay.
yeah, goes back. The history goes way back.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we talked about how large the organization is. We talked about no government funding. Do you
Right.
guys do any fundraisers like banquets or anything, or is it all just like privately funded?
It's mostly privately funded, but we do support the Mass Militime Academy,
Okay.
Military Academy. We do the National Guard. We give out scholarships to them too, and also we have Toys for Tots
Do you
in
work
Christmas
with the
time.
Marines for that?
We have the Marines that come up.
Okay.
Yep. We have quite a few events during the year itself, and
Okay.
and through our. We start, my year starts in usually June 1st, and it finishes about the first Monday of June. And there's probably about, I'd say, 40 to 50 events during the year
Wow.
that I have to go to,
Wow.
Yeah.
You're a busy guy.
Yeah, very busy. I got to appreciate my wife, she really stands behind me and makes sure that, when it's over, it's
So you
over.
don't come home from a trip and have the whole house like redecorated or anything?
Not yet.
Not yet. Giving her ideas over there.
Right.
Okay. Since there is the strong military history, are there any women involved in the Ancients?
Yes, we do. We have, after 375 years, we had 3 women has been elected into the membership.
Oh, okay.
And they were very, very qualified women that are in military,
Okay.
lieutenant colonels, and so forth and so on. Yeah. So.
Now, would they still be active? Would any of the members
Yes.
still be active military as well, so they can fill both roles?
They can fill both roles, and if they are active, let's say they're over in service, they don't have to pay their dues, and when they come back, they can start. So.
Okay. Now, you had mentioned your term starts on June 1st, and on your website, I saw something called June Day.
Okay.
Can you
Yeah.
tell me more about that?
It's tradition. It's called the election of officers.
Okay.
Even though we have the officers elected in May, but in June is the ceremony.
Okay.
And it's been going
Kind
back
of like our country's election is November, and the inauguration is
in
until
January. Right, exact same thing itself.
Okay.
And at that time, we have a very big parade in Boston. We screw up all the the traffic.
What doesn't screw up the traffic in Boston?
Well,
A little bit of snow did that.
Exactly.
Hopefully you won't have to worry about snow in June.
I don't know. We might.
I was about to say that jury's still out on that one.
So the first Monday of June, which this year is June 1st, next year we'll go back to June 6th. So we'll go 6th, 5th, all the way down. We usually have a parade that starts at Faneuil Hall. We march up to the State House.
Okay, and this is just the members of
the Ancient and Honorable. And no, we have quite a few other. We have the Centennial Legion.
Okay, and what's that?
The Centennial Legion, there's over 300 units all over the country. We don't have 300 coming here, but we have probably about 50.
A decent representation of.
Right, and they could be the Foot Guards of Connecticut, they could be the South Carolina military.
So these are basically the Ancient and Honorable Artillery Company's counterparts in other states?
They would be, after 1638.
Well, yeah, you're the
Right,
first,
right.
but they're
Right.
in essence serving the same role as the ancients.
Similar.
Do,
It's not the same, but it's similar. They're much smaller organizations.
Okay.
The Lexington Minutemen come.
Oh, neat.
Concord Minutemen. They come to our parades.
Okay.
And so we start at Faneuil Hall. We go to the State House. We usually pick up the governor, whoever's going to represent us, whether the governor's in town or not. And then we march down to the Common.
Okay.
And then we do a parade and review. It's called the drumhead election. We still have the drum that was probably about 2 or 3, I don't think it's 300 years old, but it's a couple hundred years old. It's an old drum. And we put all our election ballots in there, and they look like they're doing a replica of and there's the guns we have the guns from the Mass National Guard shoots them off the Hallisters.
Oh.
And
wow.
Yeah. This is
That's
big
like
time.
some pretty powerful stuff.
It is. It's
Now,
a
can
lot of-
anybody go to this? Or
Anybody can go. It's open to all the public. We love to have as many people to come and see it.
Okay.
So once the parade is done, or the installation of new offices,
Okay.
then we get back in formation, and then we retreat to what hotel we're going to stay at. That we have a banquet at nighttime.
Ooh. Okay.
So it's a big banquet. It's anywhere from 500 to 1,000 people that are there. Usually we'll have military, all aspects of military, and a lot of politicians, and we like to have the governor. This year is the governor's
Is that by
gonna be
invitation only, or?
It is by invitation only. Yeah. That's not open to anybody. Yeah. We wish we could invite everybody, but
Understood. Well, 1,000 people is plenty to serve.
exactly. So
Now, why was June 1st determined? Is that like a fiscal year thing, or is it?
it's a fiscal year.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't have the answer to that.
Okay.
That's a good question.
I just
should
thought
find-
of it now.
Yeah.
That's why I have my cheat sheet here, because
Yeah.
I'm like the queen of tangents, and
Well, the first Monday of June, that's when they have the
because there's
changeover
hopefully
offices.
no snow on the ground. So you
Probably
can
that's
actually
what it
do
was.
that.
They
Okay.
figured it was pretty safe.
Now, when you mentioned the State House, I know I'm kind of jumping around our order.
yeah, go right ahead.
You also mentioned the inauguration and also what is it called? The last walk?
the Lone Walk.
The Lone Walk, okay.
Right. Well, that's when the governor, every 4 years, we have a new governor. And,
Right.
And usually, whether it's Republican or Democrat or independent, we support all the governors,
Okay.
myself and him. And when the governor leaves, that's called a lone walk. So we will go the night before and escort him out of the building.
okay.
Well, he goes out, and we're at the steps there. And then
Okay.
the next day, the new governor comes in. And if you remember, this year was the coldest year of the.
Yeah.
It was awful.
It was pretty
But
cold.
it was great. It didn't snow. It didn't snow that day, so we were lucky.
That one day it didn't
Didn't
snow.
But it was cold. It was really cold, and it was a great installation for.
So during the Lone Walk, do you like line?
We line the
line up
stairs
somewhere,
of
okay.
the outside of the stairs, and the inside. We usually start at the inside from the governor's office, going
Yeah, I
down
wouldn't
the.
mind one of the inside jobs. Is that by by rank, so you got to stay inside and
No, I was outside too.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
30 below zero?
You have to wear your long johns. That's all.
Apparently. You also have something called the Fall Field Day Tour of Duty.
Well, that's the one I told you about, the trip that we travel. It could be anywhere in the world. We just my trip was let's see when it was, September 23rd, and went to October 4th, and I took the troops to Prague, and then over to Germany. We went over to the
I
Oktoberfest.
was looking at your book. You went to Munich.
To Munich itself, and it was a 10-day fun
Why did
action.
you choose that? Is it someplace that you've always wanted to be? Always wanted to visit, or?
Well, mine was a little unusual because I actually moved up the ladder pretty quick. One of our people in front of us had to resign. He had a few problems and so forth, so I moved up from second to first lieutenant pretty quick there. So I had to come up with some trip that was easy to do in 2 years. Usually takes 4 years to plan a trip.
Okay.
Because we're moving anywhere from 100 to 125 people.
Wow.
You know.
Now, is it usually an international trip, or
No.
heck, I would probably go to Hawaii,
Well, they're going to have one. They're going to have one in Hawaii. In 2 years, they're going to go to Hawaii. When I was a sergeant, I went to Hawaii.
Okay.
And the way I picked it is basically as I looked around the world, and the world is very small for the ancients. So we've been everywhere, been all over the world.
Okay.
And we had gone to Prague about 18 years ago. So a lot of the new members have never seen Prague.
Okay.
And Prague is a very beautiful, absolutely gorgeous city. A lot of history there, and I think people.
A lot of European countries have a boatload of history.
A lot of history itself there. And I picked it out because my wife liked it there. And I wanted to take my wife there, and she loved it. We fell in love. They call it a little Paris. And then Oktoberfest, obviously, it's known for its, Munich's known for its Oktoberfest. And
Munich's just known for beer.
And it was a lot of,
Heck.
we had a lot of, we drank a little beer over there. We had some fun, But we were over there. We didn't do much military over there in Munich, but we did. That's called the R&R part of the trip itself.
Although, speaking of R&R, and I did not have this in my cheat sheet, but I did notice in your book that you went to Dachau.
Yes, we did. Yeah, we did.
What are your thoughts on that? Because I also went there in high school. When I graduated from high school, I was over there.
It was very solemn.
Yeah, it was also very eye-opening, too.
It's. I was 3 years ago. I was over to the other place in Poland. I'm slipping my mind.
Auschwitz?
Auschwitz. Yeah,
Okay.
I was there at Auschwitz. That was awful. I was in Dachau about 20 years ago, and I went back again, and it's all changed. They really did it. Well, it's changed because they modernized it.
Okay.
They had a lot more displays and so forth.
Okay.
But to tell you, it was unbelievable. It was sad.
Yeah, it's really sad too, not to go into like World War II history, but the fact that a concentration camp was right there and people right next to it had no idea what was going on.
That's right.
That just blows my mind.
Yep.
And it's, it's kind of scary that, history, you don't want knowing history prevents you from repeating it, but still
That's right.
history tends up, repeating itself. And it's kind of frightening that in some areas of the world, that's still going on.
It's true. Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
ISIS is going on right now. Things are tough.
Wow. Okay, on to something happier. So
On a happier note, yes.
I'm glad you had your trip,
Yep.
and I'm glad you had fun, and you drank lots of beer, which is
Right.
always good.
Yeah, I got to watch my weight. I got to go on a diet.
I'm watching mine and watching it.
And watching me too.
grow and
I call it the seafood diet. You know what a seafood diet is?
You see food and eat it.
All the food you see, you eat.
Exactly. I remember when I was in Germany, the bus driver said he could order a beer in any country in any language. I
Right.
said, really? He said, yep, beer.
Beer. That's
Like,
exactly
okay,
right.
that
They
works.
know that word. It's right.
They know that word.
know.
Okay. You mentioned Lexington
Yes.
and Concord. How are the ancients involved, or are they involved in Patriots' Day?
We are. We actually we parade in Boston on the Boston Parade in the morning on Patriots' Day,
Okay.
and then we come up to Lexington in the afternoon. Now the
'Cause
night.
Lexington does a huge reenactment, and
Yes.
Okay.
We don't do any reenactments.
Okay.
No. But although we were invited to the Paul Revere the Lantern ceremony the night before on the 18th, and we usually have about half a dozen representatives that go to the church there and listen to
ride
the
horses. No.
Well, we haven't rode any horses, but we saw, Dawes going down the street. Usually goes down Hanover Street and does a little reenactment there, and then he takes off and goes up to Lexington. And that's in the morning, on the parade in the morning in Boston. Very short one. But the Lexington, I love the Lexington Parade. It's a great parade. It's about 3 miles long, and it could be a hot day or it could be a real cold day. We never had snow on it that day, but it's a real nice parade.
Yet.
Not yet, right? Exactly. But we've been in that parade as long as probably since it's been going on, and I think we're either the first or second unit after the Lexington people go in there. They treat us with royalty there. They're always giving us a front row.
Now, Lexington has that awesome visitor center, and they have it's a living museum in essence up
Yes.
there. Do you ever, or you meaning the ancients, work with them in any of the historical aspects of?
Not really.
Okay.
I've been trying to work on the Armory in Boston. We're going to try to get a television there because we have some nice pictures and people. There's anywhere from 3 to 4 million people that go through Faneuil Hall a year, that they estimate. And we have the pictures, but we don't have a television telling them, what's going on up there. So I'm working on that to be more proactive. This year I'm trying to get more of the politicians involved and so forth. So we're trying to bring it back again, and we're very, very close to the governor this year, and also with the mayor, Marty Walsh, too.
Because it's just amazing, the amount of history that's there. You really want to share it with people.
Exactly.
I'm jumping around with
That's all right.
Lexington being, it's a national park. Do you have any, is the Ancients Museum either a national park or state?
It's not. We're trying to get that more recognize itself in there, but it's a hidden gem. And like I said, I want people to know more about it. Another parade that we go to, it's very, very important, is the Plymouth Parade, and that's in November.
Oh, okay, in November?
Yeah, usually we go down there, and it's
Is that like around Thanksgiving time?
just after. It's either before. I think it's before Thanksgiving, and we get down there, and it's cold. It's cold down there. We do a nice parade there, and they give us a nice
beer.
no beer, but they give us a nice position in the parade itself.
Okay.
You know.
Now, is there any kind of ceremony that's tied into that, or is it strictly a parade procession?
Well, there's close to 3,000 people in that parade.
Oh, wow.
And they say there's almost 50,000 people that see that parade down in Plymouth.
Because there's also like Plymouth Plantation, so does that play a role at all?
We just go through the Plymouth Rock, up from the
Okay.
top, going from the high end, going down to the low end itself.
Okay.
Get down there.
It's been a while since I've been to Plymouth Rock. It's a rock.
It's just rock.
In a cage.
I don't know if it's the original, but they say it is. I don't.
Really?
They say. I don't
Okay.
know.
I thought I heard not too long ago.
Well,
that they
isn't a rock all original? I mean, you're not producing rocks today, right?
That's true. Yeah, and the they stamped the 1620 in the
Right,
rock. They
and
chiseled it in there.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
And
Okay.
another thing that we do too, which now that we're talking about parades and so forth, we have a parade on 4th of July.
Okay. And where is that?
That's in Boston.
Okay.
And one of the biggest acts that the captain's duties for that day is to read the Declaration of Independence. And we read it from the old State House.
Okay.
Okay, you know where that is?
Yeah.
So the old State
Just
House.
trying to think of how do people gather to listen to that? That's kind
Well,
of crowded.
It's up. You're up top, and you're on a balcony, and your first and second lieutenant are next to you, and you're in the middle, and you're reading Declaration of Independence. And at one time, you might have anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 people in there that are in Boston at that time.
I didn't think they could fit in that area.
Well, they block off all the streets.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the whole streets are all blocked off. It's all blocked, and they have a
Now,
little parade.
You were telling me that there was something unique about your presentation.
Well,
last year.
this year, or this past year here, it was the first time in history that we did not read the Declaration of Independence at the old State House.
Okay.
I read it at the Faneuil Hall on the second floor.
Okay.
With President,
Rotunda?
right with the freedom of speech, the second hall of the old hall there. First time in the history they ever had it.
And why was this?
Because we had a hurricane, if you remember.
I know you told me this, but
it rained out, but it didn't rain out till late in the
Okay.
afternoon. I think we could have had it, but
You didn't know. There's a hurricane going
it's
through.
coming. I mean, the mayor's he was new on the job, and I think he just said, "Hey, let's play it safe," and they did. They played it safe. I think it was a good idea, and it was great. And we had about 3,000 people in there, and
Excellent.
they filled that whole hall.
So you're going down in history as being a trailblazer for something else.
Something, yeah. I hope so. So,
Okay, how, we talked about the gubernatorial inauguration.
Yes.
Do you have any affiliation with the presidential inauguration? Do you send any members down there?
yes, we do. That will be coming up 2 years, I think, right?
Something like that, yep.
2016. So the commander at that time will be in charge of that event. So we do go down there.
Okay.
It all depends if we get an invitation, and most of the time we do. We'll go down there and
is it?
we'll march in that parade too.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
Yep.
What kind of role would be involved?
Right. We'd be marching.
Okay.
So that's what
Now, we
try.
talked about the inauguration, the Lone Walk ceremony. What about State of the State?
We're there too. We basically are at the hall. If you've ever been in the State House, the governor's office is at the very far end of the
Okay.
State House. We line the hall going in before he goes into the chamber,
Okay.
and we're on both sides of the hall there. It's a red carpet goes down, and we're right there.
Do you have to provide the red carpet, or is it already there?
It's already.
I
don't
think
think-
I've
I
only
don't-
been to the State House once, and that was
Yeah.
like,
Right.
9 years ago.
Yeah, I think that's in the budget for them.
Okay.
So,
They have to deal with it.
I mean, all we do, we come in and we salute and we give them the honor of walking up the hall, and so, which is good.
Now, we've mentioned all these parades and ceremonies. Can you tell me a little bit more about the Honor Guard?
Okay, the Honor Guard basically is the whole company.
Okay, so it's not like a select.
No, a few. Okay, there is a color guard too. That's the holds the flags.
Okay. I
There-
think that's what I was thinking
okay, the
when I
color
read.
guard. Yeah, the color guard is the.
But I was reading on your website about the Honor Guard, so.
Yeah, we're the Honor Guard itself. Basically, any member. See, that's the other thing is they don't have to go to any event at all. I mean, this is nobody's getting paid. Nobody's taking attendance and so forth. So we hope that people are going to show up. So we call it an Honor Guard. We might have anywhere from 30 people to 100 that show up, which is great,
Yeah.
for an Honor Guard. Color Guard usually is the 5 flags that we have.
Okay.
That they have the Massachusetts, the U.S. flag, and the ancient flag, and they have 2 other flags that we use
Okay.
on that.
And-
And they're in the front of the procession there when
Okay.
we're
Now,
doing
is it always the same 5
Yes.
flag bearers?
Yeah, we have probably 2 or 3 substitutes in there
Okay.
because we have a gentleman. Actually, he lives here in Burlington. Gerry Kelly is. We have quite a few members from Burlington that are.
But you were the first captain commanding from Burlington,
I
correct?
I think so.
Yeah.
So that goes in the history book too. So
Okay.
but
Now, is the color guard a voluntary, or is it also appointed or elected, or?
it's appointed by the master sergeant of the color guards. We set up a roster every year,
Okay.
and I think I had showed you the roster there. And
One of these, isn't it?
well, no, these are
No,
the
those.
books itself,
Okay.
and it's one of the rosters. And basically,
Oh, yeah, yep, that's at home. You
Yeah.
told me I could keep it, so.
I told you can keep it, so I think I have an extra one here running around. Yeah, here it is. And this is a roster of all of the staff.
Okay.
Anything from the aide to the captain to the wing adjutant, infantry, artillery. We got commissary office. We run it just like a military organization. We have dental
I
offices
was
and so forth.
noticing that.
And
everybody in there is a volunteer.
Every single one is a
volunteer.
volunteer, except for we have our executive director. We
Okay.
do pay him, and our curator.
Okay.
But they're there every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how often does the organization meet for meetings or,
That's a good question. We usually in the springtime it's a little heavier. Summer.
Because you're getting ready for June.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And in the summer it's light.
Okay.
Fall is heavy. In the winter we probably have 2 meetings in the wintertime.
Okay.
So it's not that many.
So
And we
it's
meet
not-
in Faneuil Hall
Oh, okay.
every time. I mean, and our office itself in there. So, and we have all these other events that go on through
wow.
through the
It's like
whole
a
year.
whole list.
Yeah. So I look at it and I says, I'm almost to the end, so I'm starting to get some relief there itself here. Oh, what I wanted to tell you, this weekend is a very big weekend for us.
Tell me more.
Okay. We're going up to the Mount Washington Hotel
Okay.
up in Bretton Woods, and that was taken over by the Omni Corporation, which is a big company. And
Is that like the same Omni Parker house? That's,
yes,
Okay.
that's exactly right. So I decided with my wife, I says, let's go up there and see if it's something to be interest for the wives and the members to go. So last year, I went up about this time last year, and I says, I like it. I said, I think it's good. So I asked my curator, I says, can you go through the history books and see if you can find something related to Mount Washington? So he did. So he goes on the annual records. He finds out that in 1912, the captain commander had his fall field tour of duty up to the Mount Washington house. Back then it was called the house.
Okay. Same location though, right?
Same location.
Okay.
The Mount Washington was, I was reading this before I came here because I want to have more history about it.
Okay.
It was built in the 1900s. 1902 it was finished.
Okay.
Joe Stickney was the
Okay.
architect of that. So in 1912, Captain Appleton went up there and he had his train. He went up in the train and he had a few members. There was quite a few members. I think he had about 40 or so. And they got off the train and they had lunch. And the manager of the hotel, his name was Mr. Kenny, invited him in and said, you know, this is your fall field tour of duty. We're going to give you lunch. And in this lunch, he says, I'm going to give you a key to the hotel.
Okay. Kind of like a key to the city, but
Right,
smaller scale.
hospitality. And he says, you know, anytime you want to come back, here's the key to the hotel. Well, we found the key at the armory.
Wow. Is it like a regular key?
Yeah, it's a church. It's an old church key.
Okay.
We think it's the key.
Well, I wasn't sure if it was like a ceremonial key.
Well, it is an old key itself, and it said Captain Appleton, so we assume. Okay, I mean, he's not around anymore. So what I did is I took it upon myself to make this sort of a big thing, and we're going to put it on a plaque.
Well, it is a big thing.
And we're going to present the key back to the hotel.
Cool.
And that's going to be this coming Sunday.
Okay. Do they know?
Oh yeah, they know all about it. Oh yeah,
They know they're getting the key back.
They know they're getting the key back.
Okay.
Oh yeah, they know
I
they're
wasn't
getting
sure
the
if
key.
you were going to like.
So we put it on a plaque and we're going to present it to them.
Neat.
So we're going up there with a group of ancients and their wives this weekend. So we're going up, and I'm pretty happy about that. It's a great thing.
You're going to get some skiing in while you're up there. I'm sure.
I
there'll still
hope
be
to.
some
I hope to. I'm going to
snow.
go probably Sunday. I think at Bretton Woods or something. You know.
Okay.
So that's a fun thing that we're going to do. We try to do good things, you know, for the company, you know, for the world. You know.
Why not?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, now we talked. I can't talk anymore.
It's all right.
Backing up a little bit, museum artifacts dating back to 1600s.
Yep.
You are wearing a piece of history.
Yes, I am. This is called a gorget, and if you looked up in the encyclopedia or on the web itself, it's called.
You can Google it.
You can Google it itself. It's a French word, and it's a protection for the neck.
Okay.
Back in the civil times.
That's more of a ceremonial gorget.
This one, right. The other one I think goes.
That's not going to do you a lot of neck protection.
Exactly. This was made by Paul Revere.
Wow.
He was not a member of the company, but he made.
Ever? Or was it just?
He was never a member. I looked back in the history. But he was a silversmith in Boston, in the North End, and he had made 4 of these for the company. We still have 2 of them around. So.
Okay. Now there's engraving on it. Was that engraving done at that same time, or was it like?
I presume it was.
Okay.
It's pretty fancy. This is all sterling silver.
Ooh.
So,
And
and
it's nice and shiny, so you probably sat home and polished it.
I didn't, but they usually do it. But and the reason why my curator said that why he knows, because he's done the history behind it. It's on the buttons, and there's gold in this, and I guess Paul Revere used to use some gold with the silver. So, you know.
So it's just the captain commanding.
The captain
that
commanding
wears that.
wears this at all the events,
Okay.
and then at June Day it's taken off of me, and it goes on to the new captain.
Okay.
So, and that's it's a big honor to wear this itself.
And you said the only other one is it locked or is it on display or?
I think it's locked.
Okay.
I think they have it locked up there. Yeah.
And you're bringing the key back up to New Hampshire. Oh, different key.
The different key, right?
Sorry.
And then when I become past commander, they give you a small gold one.
Okay.
It's a little one.
That was not made by Paul Revere.
Right. Made by the local jeweler somewhere. So, yeah.
Okay. There's a whole bunch of history involved.
Yep.
Now, are there particular customs that you teach to new members as they join in? Are there like specific customs, or is it just here, have a book, or?
No, we have training for the new members
Okay.
to learn how to march. A lot of people
Okay.
do not know how to march. It's, if they have not been in the military.
Hold your hands up like this. Whichever one makes the L is your left foot.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So that's what we usually do. You know,
Okay.
we have training for them. We have a training officer, and then we have them. It's not that hard, but you know, we teach them how to do.
Well, once you get left and right, it's a lot easier.
Right. You know, we have a rule book just like anything else,
Okay.
and I think I didn't tell you more about the sergeants. We have
Okay.
12 sergeants.
Mm-hmm.
They're elected every year, and they usually there's 6 sergeants of artillery and 6 sergeants of infantry, and they have a first sergeant, and it goes down to 6 sergeants, first all the way down to 6.
Okay.
And they are the ones that do most of the, we call them the work, for the captain itself.
Okay.
So if we have a trip, they have to do is get the military stuff all together, and they help the sergeant. Sergeants help the captain.
Okay.
They have sergeant parties too that they invite guests if you want to become a member and so forth.
Oh, okay. So like recruiting.
That's
and
right.
Training.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have 2 of those a year. We just had one last week on a recruiting, usually in the spring and the fall.
How'd it go? Any new
Well,
recruits?
I think we had a few.
Potentially?
I think we do. I think we have a few. I mean, you don't know until they come in and they have to be sworn in and go in front of the membership committee too.
Oh, they have to go in front of the membership committee.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of
No,
intimidating.
It's well, it's not that bad. No, they go in and they just ask you a question of the history, almost what I've told you today. So most members have to know a little, you know, what organization you belong to, whether you go into Rotary or you go to a Kiwanis Club. You know, they have to know a little bit about the history. You know.
Now, with this history and with the education, can we go back to educating the public
Yes.
for a moment? Okay, you have an awesome museum
Yep.
that I have yet to see, but it's definitely on my to-do list once
Okay.
the snow melts. Do you do any outreach or training on patriotism to schools or go to libraries or anything? Or
We haven't done much of that.
Okay.
But we probably would like to help people out on that particular thing. Most of the members over the years have been older gentlemen
Okay.
that came into the retired military people. Now we're having more younger people coming in and
Okay.
so forth. I can see with my own boys and other members coming in, they don't have the time to go to the meetings and so forth. They don't. I don't think they want to do this. I want to try to bring this back. That it's very important to keep this tradition going. It's
Okay.
very important because once it goes, it
Yeah.
just goes down the, you know, it's lost in history. And that's what we're trying to do, is to keep the tradition going itself in here.
because I'm just thinking of, like, you know, depending on your political stance or your political views, it's like, okay, the country is getting a lot more liberal. The country is having a lot more problems that we didn't have 30 years ago or 50 years ago. And, you know, some people are saying that it's because we're becoming, I don't know, too liberal, and, you know, the pledge to the flag is not included in a lot of schools
That's right.
across the country. So I'm wondering if, you know, in the next 5 years or 10 years or, you know, foreseeable future, would educating the public on military traditions, and, or not military, but patriotic traditions, would that be something that you see could be covered under your mission?
I think it could. It won't be on my term.
No, I understand that.
Yeah, but I think it will. In the future, we have to do that. One other thing I wanted not to change the
Okay.
subject is,
Oh.
but anytime a member dies,
Okay.
we are an honor guard at their funeral.
Oh, okay.
We show up as a group. Not everybody does this.
Okay.
I mean, the military does it, but we do it for our members itself, and it's very, very impressive. We show up and we try to get anywhere from 10 to, if a past commander dies, you usually get 60 or 70 people. It's very, very impressive. And this is something that every time I go to a funeral, usually the spouse comes up and says, I've never seen anything like this. This is a really, really great thing what you guys do. And we want that tradition to keep going. And it's very, very important. You know, whether it's down the Cape, I was just
Okay.
down in Situate yesterday. Had to go down there for a funeral. You know, we might be up in New Hampshire. We might have to go down the Cape. We have to go, you know, we try to show up.
Now, if somebody does have a military background and they do have an honor guard attending their funeral, somebody plays taps.
Yes.
Do you have anybody that
Yes,
does
we do.
something similar? Oh, cool.
We do. Yeah, we have
Do they
tap.
really play taps, or is it a recording?
No. We have actually we have trumpets. We have a drummer,
Okay.
and we have who else? We have actually 3 drummers in the organization. Try to keep us in beat.
Yeah.
You know, we're marching down there, and you know, left, right. You know, somebody's gonna do cadence too. You know.
Exactly. Cool.
So
talking about the museum a little bit, we talked about, can you tell me some of the key artifacts? Or, you know, I was thinking, actually, on my way over here, I grew up in Chicopee, and Chicopee had Ames' sword.
Yep.
And a lot of the military swords way back when were forged, I
Yes,
think the correct term,
that's exactly right. Yep.
out in Chicopee. Do you have any Ames swords with you?
I would, you know, my curator could
Okay.
answer that.
Yeah, I know he
We
could.
have hundreds of swords in there. We have hundreds of cannons and guns and artifacts from every single war.
You have cannons on the 4th floor of a really old building.
We do small ones. We got a couple of
Okay.
big ones.
I'm like, I hope the floor's reinforced.
Well, I think Peter Faneuil, he did a good job in that. That's a pretty sound building itself in there. Our curator, you know, maybe someday you should have him on the show. He can tell you all about it too. But basically, we
We'll
have.
do a show from the museum.
You could do a show.
We could do it.
They
It
go
won't be
around.
live, but...
Yeah.
Now, do you have a couple of pieces that are your favorite, if you had to choose?
You know, that's a good question. I don't have any favorites. There's so much in there. You stump me. I do not have it. But there's so much. There is so much in there. I should, you know, find a favorite in there. I just I presented a plaque to a gentleman that brought me into the company, and he was in the. He was a really down to earth guy. He wasn't in the service, an older guy, and he was one of my mentors, and he helped me out. So I had they called it Cubby Corner, and there's a plaque that I made because he was always there, jolly, making the members feel good and so forth. He was the type of guy that always got everybody going, and I presented a plaque. You know, he just passed away a couple of years ago, so I put it in the back corner of the armory. And you have to go through the Military Support Committee, Museum and Library Committee, to get all the stuff approved. You just can't put anything up there. I just got approved we never had the mayor's picture up there. If you come up to the captain's quarters, we have the President of the United States on one, right in the middle, and on the left side, we have the governor, and on the right side, it's the acting commander, which is myself. And then when I become past commander, they take the picture down, and I go into the main hall, and then the new guy comes. There's a tremendous amount of traditions that are in there, you know.
Okay. Now, one other question that kind of hit me when I was looking at your website talked about, you know, all the different wars up to Desert Storm.
Yes.
Now, my history knowledge is really bad. Desert Storm was 1991.
Right, 91, yep.
1991-ish. What about the current Afghani war or the war in Iraq? Do you guys have any, because it's still active?
Yes.
Is that why?
We have members from the National Guard that are in there right
Okay.
now. And obviously it's still active, and we have members that are there.
Okay. How long before it's non-active, when the war is officially over?
Yes. That's-
Okay, so when all the troops are withdrawn and, is it withdrawn the correct terminology?
Well, I would say, yeah, coming back.
Coming back home.
Coming back
Okay.
home. You know, and you know, the way these wars are going, it seems like they just keep lingering on, and it's awful. You know?
Yeah, I was telling you, my brother-in-law was career military, stationed in the Navy, and got sent over to what started in 2003, the Second Gulf War, right?
Right, the second one, right, not the first one, it was the second one, yeah.
Not Desert Storm,
Right.
but they actually call it like the Second Gulf War.
Second Gulf War, right.
Okay. So that's been going on since 2003, hasn't it? And
That's
it's technically still going on.
I think they have the intelligence of, they don't have many
Okay.
foot people over there right now. They're moving them
Okay.
out, you know.
You know, you're mentioning that, you mentioned that the world is pretty small, but at the same time, it's almost like it's out of sight, out of mind.
That's exactly right.
So it's not really,
Well, Vietnam was the same way,
okay.
you know. I just lost my brother a couple of years ago, and it was tough because he came back, he didn't talk about it. You know, the Vietnam vets did not talk about it, and I think they got the raw end of the stick.
Oh, they definitely did.
You know, and I think right now that that's our next generation. We're going to lose a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because they just that Agent Orange that they sprayed over there and all the trauma and everything else. It was just an endless, non-effective war.
Yeah.
You know,
It's kind of scary.
war is not good.
No. So hopefully we will stop having this history lesson, not to put you out of business, but...
No. Well, like I said, being myself, not being in the service, but knowing enough about it that I always loved the service. I really did, with the discipline and everything else that it gives there. And I think the thing is that people have to understand that we got to keep traditions going, and good traditions. We got great leadership in the company right now coming up, and we're looking forward to having go on for another 306 years.
That would be nice.
It would be real nice,
Now, one last thing before we run out of time.
Okay. How are we doing?
We have about a minute left.
Oh, really? Jeez.
Yeah, really.
I've been having fun.
Shocking. I want to get over to the museum, While you are captain commanding,
Yes.
you planned this trip. You are, you're doing the weekend in New Hampshire. You play a lot of active roles. When you step down, how involved are you going to be?
Well, they call it Society of Past Commanders,
Okay.
and this
Do
20.
you still get to do trips and stuff?
Oh yeah,
or-
you can do it. Yeah, you're still a member and so forth.
Okay.
It's an organization which I belong to a lot of organizations, probably 25 different ones. This is one organization that really takes care of their past commanders because they include you and everything, and you're really like the godfather. Or I've gone through it,
Okay.
and I have a lot of knowledge to give back to the company itself,
Okay.
and we try to help each other out, and that's
So-
what they're all about. They're
How many past commanders are still
23.
involved?
Oh, involved? Really, really involved, it's probably about 10.
Okay.
But
Which is
this-
still pretty good.
It is, yeah. Because it's every year, you
Yeah.
have a past commander. Maybe even a little bit more than that, 10 or so. But they're getting up in age too, So,
Because you said a lot of them are in their 70s when they...
well, some of them are 70, some of them are 80, some are 90s.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
we get them up there.
Well, you know what? We are now out of time.
Good.
So I do want to thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much. I
You know,
really
for someone
appreciate it.
who loathed history, I actually learned quite a bit, and you really
Well, I
made it
hope-
come alive. So
I hope I
appreciate
help
it.
the audience and everybody else. If they have any questions, they can call us or come into the Armory and see what we're all about. We invite everybody.
All right. Excellent. And I do want to thank everyone at home for tuning in this evening and checking out our 360-something years of history.
306, yeah.
306, sorry. Thank you very much for joining us, and enjoy this warm weather streak, and I'll see you around town. Good night.